Hello and welcome everybody, it's Karen. I have got a fun card fold to share with you today. Now I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can do this card. It's super easy. I've done these before and have another video up using scrap cardstock to make this, so I will put a link to that down below. But as you can see, it goes almost completely flat for mailing, but it pops open with lots of dimension when you take it out of the envelope. You can write on the back, or you could put panels or borders of pattern paper, cardstock along those sides. Whatever you want. There's so many different ways you can change this one up. Now, today I'm going to use acetate. I've used 8 milliliter acetate for mine because I think you need that thickness basically to hold the integrity of the card. And I will put a link to the acetate that I got off Amazon down below, just in case. Here you can see I've made the whole front an acetate cover. And I just wanted to show you that before I get that one decorated up, so you can have an idea of what that looks like. Now with this one, you could put little strips of acetate coming in off the sides if you had a bird or a butterfly you wanted to have fly around in there. I just didn't do it at the time, I didn't think of it. Now my card base is a 5 by 7 inch card. And I'm going to score it at 2 1/4 and 4 3/4 inches. Now you can adjust that. The middle section you can, adjust if you've got a certain die that you want to fit across that width. You can adjust it, just adjust it on both the front and on these strips that I'm going to show you now. So I'll show it to you on cardstock. I am going to do mine on the acetate, but it's a little easier for you to see. This was a scrap of cardstock I had, so you can see it's 2 1/4 inches wide. You want it to be 8 inches across, so it was 2 1/4 tall, I should say, and 8 across. I'm scoring that at a 1/2 inch, 2 3/4, 5 1/4, and 7 1/2 inches. And so what that does is it just gives me 2 1/2 inch tabs at the side. And then all the score lines in the middle are exactly at the same point. So if you adjust the height and the width of your card, just think of that, keeping that, but you can adjust the middle a bit. Now I've scored mine on the acetate, and I've put some double-sided tape on the end tabs, and I'm just going to fold mine over, and for this acetate I just pinched it. Normally you would burnish everything, but honestly, this acetate just holds its shape so much I was almost trying to straighten it out at this point. But there it is, all folded. And now what I wanted to do here is I've got the wonky picket fence die, and I've got 3 of these, and I wanted to make my bottom piece of acetate about the width of that, or the height of that fence. So I'm just kind of eyeballing where I need to cut this, and I just made a little nick with my scissors there so I knew where to trim it. And then I've cut these in half. And in fact, the gate one is a little bit wider than the other one, which I quite like, but you can make them the same width. You can make one smaller by a significant amount than the other. It just depends what you're going to have. But you would fold all of these into mountain folds, and if you're doing it out of cardstock, you want to give it a good burnish, and just make sure all those folds are nice and neat. Now these tabs are going to go under, and you'll put these horizontal pieces at the top and the bottom. So it may be you want the bigger one at the top for clouds, or maybe a bigger one at the bottom for a bigger sentiment. Just depends on what you're going to use the card for. But here I've taken the release paper off my first tab, and I've got it folded under, and I'm just lining that first tab up with the bottom left-hand corner, both vertically and horizontally. And then I'll remove the release paper on the right side, fold the tab under, and then I'm going to hold that acetate piece down with my left hand while I put this into the right hand corner, just so it's flat. You want to make sure that the card will go flat, that it's not buckling up or anything, that flat is where it's going to go. And I think if there's a bit of tension, it will end up popping out a bit better. So again, on this side, just fold the tab under, hold it down at the bottom there, and then line it up with the other corner. And then I just always burnish these, but right away you can see that that's popping out. Now, you may have a die cut that doesn't quite stretch, so you can put another piece of acetate along the middle there, or a piece of cardstock. You may have a big sentiment that you want to put there and you need it to attach to something. So, think of that. You can definitely put anything along the bottom there. You may want to add some pattern paper to this, so you could put little panels of pattern paper, or just cut those top ones out of 12-inch cardstock. Just make it, as long as it's thick enough to keep the structural integrity of the card. Now, I have used the Rainbow Village Basics, and I've chosen this piece of paper. It is a 6x6, and that card is a 5x7. So as you can see, there's a full inch of the width that is going to be missing. Now, it didn't bother me, but I can see how it might bother some people. So you may want to put a piece of pattern paper, sort of mat each section with pattern paper, or perhaps gold or silver metallic cardstock. But I am trimming that card down to be 5 inches tall, and then I just simply cut mine into 2-inch strips. Now, the middle section is a little bit wider than the two end sections, but I just kept them all at 2 inches. And so now you can put that pattern paper over the tabs that we've glued down to cover those up. And I just glued everything in place. And as you can see, there is a gap there. And there it is, and there's quite a gap. And I realized at this point I had forgotten to fold the back. So you want to fold those into mountain folds. So, and normally I would burnish them, but I just couldn't with the acetate on there. So there's the wonky picket fence die. And I'm just going to glue 3 of those sections together. And it just worked out that the folds were exactly where the score lines were on the horizontal pieces that I had. So that was just perfect. I put some red line tape on the back of that, and I'll remove the release paper, maybe. And then I'm going to line up the fold line on the left there with the fold line on the card and on those horizontal bands, and just try to keep the fence down at the bottom. So I'll just press that into place. And then I had a tiny little bit that stuck out at the edges, so I'll flip that over and just trim that. And so there it is. Now I've picked out a few die cuts. Now these are the embossed die cuts. I think some may have been from the Quick Cards collection. I wasn't sure because I sort of lumped all of mine together at one point. I had such a mess on my desk and I couldn't figure out what went with what, so mine are all mixed in together. But any of these die cuts or the cut aparts would work here. That sentiment is actually taken from the back of the cover piece of one of the 12x12 paper packs. Either the basics or just the Rainbow Village one. But I'm just putting glue where the fence slats are. And then I'll flip that over and it will just stick down to where the fence is there. And then these butterflies, I just put a little bit of tape along the body and fold the wings up a little bit, and I'm just going to attach this one to the top. And that is my finished card. So you can see all that dimension. It's really fun because you can see the whole back, the inside, and I love the little fence there. It just adds to the charm of that little house. And the bird, well, those are such fun birds and butterflies. So here is this one. This was the full panel card that I showed you earlier, and I've just decorated this with some more of those embossed die cuts. I've tucked these butterfly, one in behind and one on front. And then this little die cut here, I actually glued to the back. I used my glue, which dries clear. I have the art glitter glue. And I've just attached everything to that. And I just thought that was kind of fun. So I hope you guys will give this a try. You've got so many different ways of doing it. A full cover of acetate, just a horizontal strip across the bottom, across the top, or here with one extra strip up and down the middle. And don't forget, you can change the sizes of these cards. So if you didn't want to make it a 5x7, you can definitely go for a different size. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I hope I've given you some inspiration there, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Bye.